Welcome to the Tailgate Debate. You're here with Anthony, Zach, Jamie, and Earl.
All right, what's up, fellas? Welcome back. So tonight we're going to get into just a couple games that are going on this weekend, and then talk a little bit about college traditions. Those we like, those we don't think are overrated, whatever. And then we'll see what else pops up in the discussion right before we kick off college football in a couple of days. So on the slate for Saturday is not a whole lot. The only Power 5 matchups that even are worth a tune into are Nebraska Northwestern and Vandy Hawaii. Everything else there's a couple other big players. There's a couple other Power 5 schools playing, but they're playing much smaller schools. So not a whole lot going on this weekend, but college football is still kicking off, so that's a good thing. What are you guys thinking about?
Games wise, or just the season being back?
Yeah, for the weekend.
I mean, Nebraska Northwestern is the only one worth watching. Maybe Hawaii Vandy for the night game, since that'll be. I don't even know because it won't be on until 11 o'clock. So, yeah, so maybe just Northwestern Nebraska.
Yeah, you guys aren't watching the other games?
I mean, who? Florida State Duquesne? Like,
yeah. Northwestern and Nebraska is the only game worth mentioning. I'm probably going to watch college football all day just because it's back and I'm excited. But those games are all, not good games. Nothing to look forward to. And the fact that you named the second best game is Vandy Hawaii, like, come on, fuck off.
It's got to be fucking. Did I make the schedule? You got to tell me to fuck off?
Well, the only reason you named that game is because Vandy's an SEC school and you're SEC bias. Vandy fucking sucks. They might lose to Hawaii.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a couple things. Number one, I am SEC bias, so you fuck off. Number two,
Did you just confirm that I was correct and then tell me to shut up or fuck off? Okay. Yeah. What's your next point?
Nobody gives a fuck if Vanderbilt wins. I'm a root for them because they're SEC, but I don't care if they win that game. And they're barely hanging on by a thread to the SEC with the expansion that's going on. So it is what it is. But they're still an SEC school and they're still in action. Look, I'm just excited about football to kick off. I'm going to watch games all day.
Vandy's one of the marquee games on your guys' schedule.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that what's yours? Navy? Every year, Navy's the big game, right?
USC, I would say.
USC.
It's our biggest rival.
I was watching some shitty ass show today. I don't even know who the guys were. I've never seen them before. They were on CBS Sports or some bullshit. And they were talking about teams that they're projecting to be most overrated, underrated, all that crap coming into the season. And they picked USC. Who's the old Florida State? Cannell, Danny Cannell. He's a Florida State guy, and he picked USC to be by far the most overrated school coming into the season. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, just off the top of my head, Texas, but USC is not a bad pick because they have
Go ahead.
Just USC has a ton of hype around them, and they brought in a ton of recruits, a lot of transfers that were good players at their former schools, and then they have Lincoln Riley. So obviously they have a ton of hype around the program. But Texas, I mean, just based off of what they did last year, going 5-7, losing to Kansas, and they haven't really done much to bring in more talent, and they're just so unproven. And I think they're ranked like around 20 in the top 25, which they have no business being in any preseason rankings. So I think Texas would be the glaring team that isn't very good and is overrated.
Zach, what do you think? Have you been keeping up with any of this stuff?
I think this is going to be a weird year for college football because I think Alabama and Ohio State are pretty much set on being, playoff teams, assuming nothing crazy happens. And then everything else, I think, is up for grabs. So I wouldn't be surprised if any of the teams in the top 10 right now ended up in the low 20s or out completely. So I don't think USC is a terrible pick, but with so many teams ahead of them, like looking at Utah, Clemson, I'm not sold on. Georgia lost a ton of people, even though they're going to reload. Notre Dame is starting off the season with, obviously, at Ohio State, new coach, new quarterback. So I think there's plenty of picks that are reasonable picks for overrated.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of his rationale. I kind of like Danny Cannell. I know he's a straight up homer for Florida State. But I still like him outside of the Florida State stuff. He's usually okay. Some of his shit is a little bit off the wall, but his reason for picking USC was that all the players they brought in were offensive. And he was saying they really didn't make a whole lot of changes on defense, and their defense wasn't that great last year. That might be true, but I mean, if you can score a lot of points, you can compete in a lot of games. So it might not be a terrible pick. I didn't necessarily care for the rationale. I mean, yeah, they probably should have done some things on defense, but then I got really pissed off. So the other, and I don't know the guy's name. I don't know who they were all former players because they were talking about their glory days and all this stuff. But the one guy, they said, who's your team that you think is underrated and that's going to do well? I'll see if you guys can guess it. It was an SEC team. And I'll tell you why it pissed me off. You guys want to try to guess? A team that's underrated coming in that they think is going to do better than projected.
Maybe LSU.
What do you think, Jamie? You want to guess?
I think LSU is a pretty good guess.
Yeah, it was Florida. And I'm like, Florida's been a legit team for 3 decades, right? Three and a half decades. So that's the team that you go out on a limb and pick. It's always the same fucking teams. How is that ballsy? Like the team that's underrated. Oh, a team that's in a talent, fucking infested state where recruiting is easy as can be, and a team that's loaded every year. That's good. That's way ballsy pick for underrated. It just gets my nerves, man. You know what I mean?
Florida wasn't even one of the top teams I was thinking. Like when you limit it or put it down to the SEC, Florida never even popped into my head. It was more so Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss, like those teams, because they're ranked pretty low in the preseason rankings, and they have potential to have good seasons. And then obviously Tennessee too. I think a lot of people are expecting a lot out of Tennessee this year. Whether it happens or not is, we've seen that before too.
I can tell you nobody on this fucking show was. So it's just the thing that I'm not upset with the pick just because I hate Florida. I'm not upset with that. It's just there's like no originality. Like if you're going to pick a team that might be underrated, like why don't you go out on a limb and like pick somebody that maybe nobody's guessing or that hasn't been good for a long time? It's just annoying. It's so fucking vanilla. You know what I mean?
I don't see it that way because I don't think nobody's really expecting much out of Florida. What are
They
they?
still have a lot of talent. They're right. They always got talent.
I mean, they're still recruited well, but I'm not sure if it's been SEC well.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are high on their quarterback, but other than their quarterback, I don't even know anyone else on their team, which is rare because usually, like you're saying, Florida does have a ton of talent, but I don't know if that's the case with this team this season.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit cheesy, like nothing original really.
It was probably the fact that you hate Florida and also the fact that they didn't say Tennessee. So
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I knew you were going to say that. That really wasn't it. I knew they were going to talk about Tennessee because they can't wait to shit on Tennessee. No big deal. But they didn't shit on Tennessee though. They just said nothing about them, which is even fucking worse. But it doesn't matter. No, that's not what I was upset about. I was upset about the lack of originality. Like if you're going to say, who's the team that's underrated, can you give us somebody different? What about Kentucky? I think Kentucky.
I think Florida is bolder than, like I said, I was thinking Ole Miss, LSU, Kentucky. Those were the three.
Were you getting ready to say Florida is a bolder pick than Kentucky?
I think that people are expecting more out of Kentucky than they are Florida this year. So I think that is a bolder pick. Not traditionally, but this upcoming year, yeah, you could say that people are expecting Kentucky to do more than Florida this upcoming season. Isn't Kentucky picked to finish second in their division?
Yeah, they are.
Right.
They are. It's true. There's a little bit of hype around Kentucky, but nobody in the SEC really believes in that hype. Everybody in the SEC is kind of like, yeah, but they're still Kentucky. So that's how I am anyway. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what everybody's talking about, but I ain't fucking buying.
So you guys went to the wire last year with Kentucky, right? And then they've beat you guys a couple times over the last few years.
They beat us a couple times over the last 10 years. Yeah.
Well, Garantano threw more touchdowns to them than us when he
Yeah,
was
but
here. So
I'm not even talking shit, but
No, I know.
I'm pretty sure you guys like handled Kentucky there was a long streak, right? Like you guys beat Kentucky like a lot.
25 years.
Right. And here recently, in the last 10 years, they beat you what, 2 or 3, 4 times?
yeah,
Yeah. But that's more about how bad we've been.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you're saying like they're still Kentucky. And
They are still Kentucky.
they own wins over you guys in recent years.
Come
So
on,
for you to
man.
expect them to be talking about Tennessee, it's like, don't be a homer. And I'm expecting improvements and big things from Tennessee this year, but nobody else outside of Tennessee is really talking about Tennessee.
I never said one word about being upset that they didn't talk about Tennessee. How are you going to fucking twist my words or just completely make some shit up? I never said one time that I was upset they didn't talk about Tennessee.
No, your mouth didn't say that you were upset. Your actions said
My
that
actions.
with what they said. Yeah, you're sour grapes, bitch.
I'm I got a question. What percentage of this is sour grapes?
Right.
I think Kentucky's been at least respectable the last 5 years.
For sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I can see why you'd say Kentucky is more stable right now than Florida.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I understand both of your guys' perspective too, where you're just saying like you're basically dismissing Kentucky and saying like they're still Kentucky. I get that. Like, but there is a lot of excitement around Kentucky for this upcoming season. There's a lot of hype around their quarterback. And the coach there, Stoops, right? Isn't it the other Stoops guy?
Yeah.
He's built a respectable program. So
he has. I'm not trying to take it away. I'm not shitting on Kentucky. I'm really not. I just don't believe in them until I see it. There's just been too many seasons where Kentucky's been kind of hyped up and they just can't. They just don't have the talent. They don't have the coach. They don't have the quarterback. They don't have the running back. There's always something missing, and they just can't really put together what I would even call a contending season. So they put together some good seasons, but I can't remember a time that they've ever truly been contending for the SEC East. Like legit, where you thought they might win it.
Right. Are you still talking about Kentucky, or are you talking about Tennessee now?
Shut the fuck up, man.
Because it's very similar. And that's not even talking trash.
I've
heard from you every year, we got this guy, we got this recruit, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then nothing.
Wait till this year. 12-0.
Right.
I got us at 12-0. That's all you need to know. I got us at 12 and motherfucking 0. Nick Saban just signed an 8-year extension.
Yeah,
he fucked up. He should have got out. He should have got out on top because this shit's over now. That motherfucking ride is over.
He signed through 2030, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we got to put up with this dude.
He definitely made a deal with the devil, man. Right? Shouldn't he be in a fucking nursing home?
He's not that.
He's 70.
Is he just 70?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought he was like 75.
I did too.
And the
motherfucker, like he's been around
motherfucker,
forever.
yeah, and he's still youthful looking. He definitely made a deal with the devil, right?
I didn't think he was that old. I thought he was still in his like 60s.
Nah, he's older. He's older.
These legendary coaches, though, they coach until they die.
I know, it's all about the ego. They want to break all the records and go down as the best ever. They're complete fucking egomaniacs. I mean, it is what it is. If you're on top, you're on top. If you want to stay there, stay there. I mean, good for him. I think Nick Saban's the best coach ever. So I think what he's done in this era of football with the recruiting restrictions and those kind of things, I think he's the best coach ever. And I actually don't think that anybody's going to top him ever.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention that now college football is probably the most competitive it's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be, 2-3 teams in each conference get all the talent and just cruise for 8 games a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even the South Carolinas and Kentuckys have come up in the East.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to get down as the best ever, and I think he deserves it. But this shit's coming to an end.
We'll find out about Kentucky earlier in the season, by the way. They play at Florida's second game, so
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see who's really contending. I bet you Kentucky loses that game. Nah, I take it back. I don't want to bet.
Well, Florida's got a tough start with Utah and then Kentucky.
They'll be 0-2.
The same panel today they all picked Florida to beat Utah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm really high on Florida.
They are high on Florida. That's what I'm saying, man. It was fucking annoying.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
I don't
I'm-
understand the Kentucky love either. I don't understand the Notre Dame love either. I know you're a fan, but I don't understand that love either. Notre Dame's got to be one of the most overhyped teams, right? You got to admit that. You don't think you guys are number 5, do you?
We're a top 10 team. I mean, the preseason poll doesn't really matter much anyways.
Yeah,
I've already said the reason why we're number 5 is probably because of that opening weekend game. But we're a top 10 team.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to seeing some football, man. I want to see what these guys are doing. I want to see what's going on.
Well, also number 5 implies you're a playoff contender. So
Yeah,
if you don't think you are, then they're overrated.
I think they are.
You think Notre Dame's a playoff contender?
Why wouldn't I?
Like when I say contender, I mean get to the playoff and compete in the playoff.
We haven't shown that we can compete in the playoff, but we have shown that we can get to the playoff. And our roster, based on other teams that have made the playoff, I feel like we can definitely make the playoff. We have a good defense. We have good D line, good offensive line. We had a lot of question marks on offense, but we could definitely make the playoff.
Yeah, not me talking about making the playoff. I know you got a bullshit schedule, so you could definitely make the playoff. I'm talking about competing in the playoff. Like if you're going to be a contender, you have to get there and then be like a challenger in the. Do you see yourself as a challenger? Like when you put yourself up against, well, you're going to find out against Ohio State in week 1, but Alabama, Georgia, like you think that Notre Dame's on that level?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're going to find out in week 1 if we're on that level with this team. Traditionally, we haven't been on that level, and I don't know. You could probably say that our team hasn't been as talented as those other teams. You could also say that our coaching wasn't on the same level as those teams.
Agreed.
We obviously have a new coach that's bringing a different culture, so I'm optimistic. I think that we eventually will start competing in the playoff.
So I know we're going to find out in week 1, but what are your thoughts now? We're doing some preseason shows. Do you think you're on that level? You see you guys beating Ohio State and establishing yourself as a team that's on that level?
Yeah, I think we win week 1.
Okay. All right. So you're not really going to directly answer the question, Earl?
You asked me if we were going to beat Ohio State. I said I think we win week 1. That's yes.
No, I said, do you beat Ohio State and establish yourself as a team that's on that level, that elite level?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
The fuck?
Thank you.
My other answer not any good?
Zach,
I mean-
do you see what he did? All that hedging shit. You see all that?
I mean, I think, Ohio State's what, a 17-point favorite?
I think it's 15.5 now.
Whatever.
17 and a half,
15.
15 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Let me ask you guys, we won't get into all those picks until next week. I'm really excited about football kicking off Saturday, man. I know all the games aren't great, but I am really excited to turn on some football. But let's do an early pick. I mean, do you like that spread? You don't have to pick the game, but do you see that spread holding up? Do you think Notre Dame beats that spread? Forget about who wins or loses. Do you think Ohio State covers that spread or Notre Dame beats the spread? And Jamie, you already said you think Notre Dame's going to win outright. Zach, what do you think about that spread?
if it was 13.5, I would definitely take Ohio State to cover it. But that extra couple of points means 3 scores. That's a lot. But it is in Ohio State, so I don't know. It'd be a tough bet. I probably would pick Ohio State.
It's crazy. I think it's crazy. I don't know if I think it's a weird opening game line. I don't think Ohio State covers that line. And if they do, Notre Dame is fucked for the season. I do believe that. If Ohio State covers that line, you guys are in trouble this year.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even know if I would say that they're going to run away with it, but I could easily see it being like a 24-3 type game with the changes that Notre Dame's had in personnel. And then the fact that it's in Ohio State, that's going to be tough no matter how good you are.
It's going to be a tough game. I agree with you.
So,
yeah,
I'm talking about the spread.
I have Notre Dame winning, but I'm okay with the spread. I mean, based on what we've done with in those big games against those top tier teams, the spread's fine.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I mean, that's a good point. You guys have gotten your ass whipped in every marquee matchup that you've had over the past recent history.
Not every, but
Can you name a good one?
yeah, we lost to Georgia in the last few minutes at home.
Oh yeah,
So I think they beat us by 3.
that was a good game.
We beat Michigan at home in 2018. I think Michigan was ranked like 12 or something like that.
Mm.
Obviously, the playoff appearances are what everyone remembers, and the BC or not the BCS, but
Your big sixes or New Year's sixes or whatever that bullshit is.
yeah. So those are the games that people always, and we haven't won those games, so that's why I'm okay with the spread. And it is in Ohio State. They are more established. They are a top team this year, so I'm okay with it. And it'll look even better when we win the game.
What'd you say?
I said it'll look even better when we win the game.
Yeah, if you win the game, that's a huge win. I mean, for many reasons. Of your Freeman's first game, the new quarterback, the expectations, the ranking, that would be monster. That would be a monstrous win on every level for a ton of reasons. But I don't see it happening. So we're not going to spend a lot of time speculating on that. But if it does, good for you. I'll be happy for you. I'll be happy for you. I won't be happy for me because I don't like Notre Dame.
well, the good news for you is that if their rankings are right, you guys will get a shot at Clemson, who should be in the playoff contention too later on. So,
Yeah, the rankings are definitely wrong. So that's
yeah,
not.
yeah, I know.
We'll see USC as well. They got to be the Pac-12 favorite.
All right, let me ask you this. Since we're just shooting the shit and we're just basically biding our time until football kicks off. If Ohio State beats that spread, let's say the final score is 31-10 or something like that. What do you think Notre Dame drops to in the poll?
8.
They're number 5 right now.
Yeah, I think they drop anywhere from 10 to 15.
Yeah, they definitely drop out of the top 10. 8 is not happening. I think they definitely go out of the top 10. Which is why I don't think they make it back. We'll get into all that. We don't want to spend too much time on that because we got the other key matchups this weekend with Vandy and Hawaii and Nebraska and Northwestern. I don't want to do anything to take away from those big time matchups. So anyway, let's talk about college traditions since we're all looking forward to college football kicking off. What are your favorite traditions other than your own? I mean, well, you can mention your own too. But the other traditions that you like, that you either associate with football time, or that you grew up watching, you associated with football Saturday, or the ones that get on your nerves that you think are overrated, just get on your damn nerves. Who wants to go first?
Well, I mean, obviously Notre Dame has the most tradition in college football.
That's bullshit, but go ahead.
I mean, you have Coach Rockney, the most iconic, winningest coach of all time, the father of college football.
Oh, the father.
We have Touchdown Jesus. We have the Rudy story, the 4 horsemen. I mean, there's not a shortage of tradition when you talk about Notre Dame football.
So Rudy is one of the things you're listing as a Notre Dame tradition. That's what makes sure I understand that.
As far as like the movie,
we're talking about college traditions. This motherfucker's talking about Rudy.
I'm talking about just tradition of Notre Dame.
Okay. So Rudy, and then what?
4 horsemen, Rockney, Touchdown Jesus, the Golden Dome, all the great players, all the Heisman winners, all the national championships. You kidding me?
All right. So give me some. What about around the country? Some that aren't Notre Dame. What do you like? Any?
So I haven't really been in person, but just watching on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Neyland, and the stadium was nice. The culture, the fans, you could tell they really cared about it. Rocky Top is a pretty cool song. I liked it. Some of the chants that you guys do, all the drunks out there, the throwing the trash on the field. I can get down with.
The fuck out of here.
I like going to Tennessee. The 2 times I went, unfortunately they lost both games, but I had a good time. I'm trying to think of other. I would say the coolest thing that I've seen on TV, one of the coolest things is the Penn State whiteout game. It's just it's crazy how hyped that the stadium is, and literally everyone in there is wearing white, and it's just there's a ton of excitement and buzz. And I remember when Saquon was there and he returned the opening kick against Ohio State. Shit was insane. So I mean that's one that just comes to the top of my head.
One that I fucking hate is Clemson with their stupid ass rock before they run down the hill.
Oh my God, it's so dumb.
I actually think like they're running down the hill into your stadium is a cool thing, but I don't give a fuck about your old ass rock. I tell Howard to come pick that shit up and take it back.
I think the opposite. I don't have a problem with touching the rock. Like everybody's got something they touch when they come in. I think it's dumb as shit that they get on the field, they warm up, then they load up on a bus, fully padded with helmets, drive around, and then run back into the stadium. That shit is so stupid. It is stupid. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what I was going to say, that they literally leave and come back, and then they run down this hill, and it looks dangerous. Like somebody's going to hyperextend. Like, could you imagine if like Deshaun Watson is running down the hill and he blows his knee out? Like, like why would you put your players in danger before they play a game? It looks.
They would just send him to see the therapist.
Might fake an injury.
Right. I got a cramp.
Yeah, upper groin.
Hello.
I mean, obviously, as a Tennessee fan, I love the running through the tee and the checkerboards. That shit gets me excited every time.
Yeah, the running through the tee is definitely my favorite, and the checkerboard is definitely my favorite traditions. I like. Go ahead. I'll let you finish that, and then I'll go.
Oh, I was gonna say I like Virginia Tech's entrance too, with Enter Sandman. That's a pretty cool one, even though it's a little bit more recent.
Yeah, I was at a Virginia Tech game last year. Notre Dame played Virginia Tech, and the Sandman was pretty cool. So,
Yeah, that shit looks wild on TV.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was a night game too, so everyone was pretty jacked.
Yeah, I've been to Virginia Tech a couple of times. I really like their entrance. That's a fun crowd. Those were fun games to go to. I like the Florida State, the Tomahawk Chop. I don't know if that's what they call it or not, if they call it the Seminole Chop or whatever. I like that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the chief running out into the field with the spear.
Nah, I don't care about that. I like the chop. Obviously the Tennessee traditions I love, the checkerboards, the singing Rocky Top, all the orange. I don't care for the fireworks after scores. I don't really care for that. The Vol Navy. I love all of it, man. In Tennessee.
How do you feel about the Gator Chomp?
I think that I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the dumbest traditions. I mean, I don't know who invented that. She's like, hey, look, we can clap up and down. We don't have to go side to side. Like, what kind of dumb shit is that? It is so stupid. And everybody outside of Florida thinks it's stupid. So.
And then what about the Texas Hook'em Horns?
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna say, I feel like for the tradition also, you should mention Army and Navy.
Love Army and Navy game.
Yeah, that's always a classic one.
That's an awesome game. If you guys haven't been, you need to go. If you like traditions and football just for football and the pageantry, you got to go to an Army Navy game. That shit was awesome.
It's always too cold. I'm not a huge cold game person, and they obviously play the last weekend of the season.
Yeah.
It's too cold.
It's awesome. You really should go. It's a game. I think it's a game everybody should go to if you love college football and course, the servicemen and women.
Have you ever been to a game in South Bend?
I have not. I was trying to go when Tennessee had Notre Dame on the schedule years back, but we opted to just to go, because back then I was only going to 1 or 2 games a year, and so we opted just to continue to go to Knoxville, since we were just going, once a year or so. So nope. But I plan to. I want to go. I don't have an interest in going to Alabama, or really Florida. Like some of the SEC schools, I don't really have. I'd like to go to LSU, and I would like to go to Ole Miss. I don't have an interest in Alabama or Florida. Number one, I hate them, and number two, I don't know. There's nothing there I really want to see.
Yeah, I was going to say LSU has maybe the coolest midfield logo.
For sure. Yeah.
And a night game there would be awesome to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind going to Georgia either.
I wouldn't mind going to Georgia. It's a little bit plain. It's just kind of there,
Have you guys seen the videos when Georgia, I don't know if it's when they come out or when they score, but basically the stadium goes black and they do the red lights?
That must be a new thing.
Yeah, I know a lot of schools are starting to do that. Like Notre Dame did that too. They turned out the lights and had a light show. So I guess it's like the new thing that's going on. But Georgia's actually is pretty cool. I seen it on Instagram the other day. So
yeah, I tell you one thing that I don't like in Tennessee. I don't like that our team comes out first. Because what the really dickhead coaches like Urban Meyer when he was at Florida, what they would do is as soon as Tennessee came out, so the police usually block the visiting team from coming in until we made our entrance, and the crowd is going crazy. And then of course the other team comes in and we start to boo. Well, Urban Meyer, what happened was our whole team wasn't even in the tee. Everybody just started going crazy, and then they brought the Florida players straight out. So it was such fucking bullshit. So I think they should make the visitors come out first, boo the fuck out of them, and then make the tee and let them be out there while we cheer our team coming into the stadium. That's the way I think it should go down.
do you guys share a tunnel?
Do what?
No.
You have different tunnels?
Yeah, it's opposite ends.
Yeah.
So we at Notre Dame comes out first as well, and then the other team. So we have this big tunnel at one of the end zone that Notre Dame comes out of. And then to the side, there's like this little doorway. So like it's super thin and narrow for the other team. So they really have to come out one at a time. So, I mean, I guess they could still come out at the same time as our team. I think that's a dick move, though. I mean, Urban Meyer, I'm not surprised that he did it because he's a fucking asshole. But, I mean, I feel like you don't do that. Like the home team, they're coming out. Just let them come out and then do your thing. But I don't know. I guess it's tradition though, because I guess every home team comes out first.
Yeah, and well, if they're gonna, and they should continue to do that, but they should really block that visiting team from coming in until the home team says, "Okay, you can enter." Urban Meyer's a fucking asshole, man. I can't believe that dude got a job as an analyst again. Unfucking believable.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's he working for? Fox?
Fox Sports.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, apparently you can just be any kind of piece of shit, but if you've ever coached or played, I mean, you got a job waiting on one of these sports networks. I don't fucking know.
They're literally trying to cancel Deshaun Watson, and Urban Meyer put his thumb up some girl's ass. And like nothing happened.
He put his thumb up her ass?
Yeah, he had his whole hand like up her ass.
In the bar?
Yeah. He was in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not trying to cancel him. I mean, get yours. But I mean, he had a rough year last year, and for Fox to just be like, "Welcome back."
right. Oh my gosh. It is fucking I mean, it's an embarrassment. As a network, how do you bring this fucking dude back in? Maybe in a couple years. But I guess they brought Marv Albert back, right? After he bit that hooker on the ass. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
That was a big time story. He left his teeth prints in her ass.
Was that before cancel culture?
It was way before cancel culture, yeah. And it was before,
That's why I don't know about it.
everybody knew about it. He
I know,
bit
but-
her on her ass.
But who cares? Like,
What?
when was this? Like 10 years ago?
No, this is back when the Bulls were in their dynasty.
Oh, so you're talking way back.
Way back before the internet.
Yeah, I don't think people were even worried about that.
But that's when news. Listen, that's when news stuck around for a while. Like nowadays, something fucked up happens. I mean, the internet changes it so fast. You only get shit on for a day or two, unless you slap Chris Rock. That goes on for a couple weeks. But usually it's a day or two, and then everybody's on to the next thing. But back then, when there was no internet, that story stuck for a while about the bite marks in her ass and all that shit. That was a big deal, and I think the NBA still brought him back. I'm not positive. Don't quote me, but I thought they brought him back.
So you think the scrutiny was worse back in the day than it is now with internet? Are you crazy?
No. I think it stuck to you longer.
I mean, that might be true, but like the amount of memes and criticism and hate you could get in a day or two from the internet, I mean, I'll take the old shit any day. I'll let shit drag on for a month as long as I'm not a meme. Memes live forever.
You don't think there's a little bit of pride in becoming a meme? Like you had to either do something really funny or really fucking stupid.
Generally, it's something really stupid. It's you're never really praised for being a meme. You don't want to be a meme.
Yeah, but if you, I mean, isn't it better to be a meme than be nothing?
No. If you're not a meme, you're winning as opposed to someone who is a meme. This might be a little bit out of your lane because you're 100 years old, but
definitely, it's definitely that's for sure. I'm not even going to dispute that.
Yeah, the internet is brutal. There's a saying that says the internet is undefeated, so it's definitely worse now with the internet.
I'm just saying, if your 15 minutes is being a meme, is that the worst thing?
Also, the internet is way more savage than you would have gotten back on cable television. I saw fucking Kobe memes the day he died of him shooting a fadeaway with a helicopter photoshopped in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the internet is ruthless.
Yeah, so like Kobe,
I don't support any of that. That's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe's one of the greats. So like the fact that someone would do something like that, and I know Kobe had some off the court issues too, but Kobe overall was a good dude. Like he was a father of he's got like 4 daughters. He did everything right in the NBA. For someone to do that is crazy. Now, memes, I think it's fair game if you're a piece of shit or go after those people. But like Kobe, I feel like Kobe's someone who, especially he died. Like he didn't just do something stupid or something happened unfortunate. He died. So like to make a meme out of that, like those people are really fucked up. But
I'm not saying I agree with it.
No, but that's a good example of how the internet is a brutal fucking place.
Well, and the thing too is like if you tell people not to do shit, I mean the internet is full of fucking 15-year-olds with nothing better to do than try to piss people off.
That's all it is. Bunch of
some low shit. Some low down shit, man. I don't co-sign any of that fucking bullshit.
I don't think anybody does. It's why all this shit's anonymous.
I'm all about a good meme, but I don't know. It seems like if you were a meme, I mean, at least you were something, At least you were out there.
I'd rather.
Most of the memes I think are just like very well-timed pictures that catch on for whatever reason. Like lately, the one of the girl yelling at the guy and him standing there. I'm sure you've seen it, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean those memes are harmless because no one knows who those people are, so they're just fun. I'm talking about if you're like a celebrity or if you're mainstream and you become a meme, that's not good.
Like this is like I told you guys a true story. Like when I was in college, and I fucking slipped on that banana peel. Like if somebody had gotten that, like right at that moment when I slipped on the banana peel, and that became a meme. Like, is that the worst thing? Or is that not funny enough to become a meme?
No, it's funny. But the odds of somebody recording you, why would somebody be recording you in the first place? We all know that you don't like to be recorded. Besides, so I mean, it would be funny if someone caught someone like legitimately slipping on a banana peel. But
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some fucking asshole with a camera who just wants to record everything, no matter how fucking stupid it is. So anything can be caught on video. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that's out there on the internet. You're like, damn, why the fuck was somebody even recording this?
Well,
You know what I mean?
there's like a phenomenon of people recording people eating hot dogs.
Yeah, I ain't even getting into that shit.
For some reason, they call hot dogs glizzies.
Yeah, you need that's a different show. That's not for here.
And there's a trend of people eating Tide Pods. Like,
Doing what? Oh, Tide Pods. Yeah.
yeah. Internet's fucking stupid. It's also merciless. It's better to not be on it.
Yeah, but the Tide Pod shit, like Anthony would be very quick to be like, "That's your generation. That's millennials, right?" To make fun. But it's been going on. For sure it is, but it's been going on for years. Like somebody sued McDonald's because they got burnt by coffee. So McDonald's had to put caution, this is hot, on their cup. That was probably 40, 50 years ago.
Well, first of all, motherfucker, it wasn't 40 or 50 fucking years ago. Just because you can't remember it doesn't mean it was a century ago. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. But that's not the true story. That's not the true story. The true story, the way that I've heard it, is that the coffee actually was overcooked and it spilled on the woman's hands, and she actually had third-degree burns on her hands. That's what I heard.
I didn't know you could overcook coffee.
Yes, if it's scalding fucking hot and it's not supposed to be. Isn't that overcooked?
Is it ever not hot?
It's supposed to be hot, but not scalding. What are you, stupid? Do you drink coffee?
Do you drink coffee?
I drink coffee. I drink coffee. My coffee's always.
You get ice in your coffee.
Because I don't want to get burned. I learned from her mistake.
Right.
Now, my coffee, I do like iced coffee, but even if it's hot, even if I'm drinking hot coffee, it's not as hot because I put a little bit of hazelnut in it, so it cools it down a little bit.
Do you when you don't put ice in your coffee, do you blow on it?
You got to blow on it.
Yeah. Before you go off on fucking coffee, it's kind of bullshit to say that millennials are stupid when no other generation has their entire youth documented.
I never said millennials are stupid.
I know, but when you say shit like that's your generation eating the Tide Pods, I'm sure you guys are doing all kinds of dumb shit too.
I didn't say that. Whoa. Jamie said that's some shit that Anthony might say that's your generation. And I said, yeah.
Yeah, but you've definitely said millennials are stupid. Hundreds of times.
I didn't say millennials are stupid. I said young people are stupid.
Or when we talk about issues, you're always like, that's your generation.
That's right. How old are you?
Millennials.
I'm a millennial.
I know, but how old are you? 32, right?
Yep.
Everybody 32 and younger is stupid as fuck. I can't deal with it.
Right.
And when you turn,
that number goes up by 1 every year.
Goddamn right. Happy birthday, new cutoff. Stupid motherfuckers.
Right.
No, I know every generation has their issues and their stupidity and the dumb shit they did. I agree with that, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the bottom line is that your generation is not my generation, and I'm watching it as an older person saying, you motherfuckers are stupid. And I got news for you. When I was coming up, the generation ahead of us was looking at us saying, you motherfuckers are stupid. It's just it's what you do. It's the way of the world. So we've all done some stupid shit.
Yeah, I know the music's always getting worse and the clothes and everything are dumber.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because when I do remember the boomer generation, my parents and all that, saying that kind of stuff and thinking, like, what are you talking about? You're so out of touch. But I do. Like, I hear the music that comes out now and the way kids are dressing. Well, the way they're dressing actually it's all going retro. It's all going back to the 70s and 80s.
The music is.
Huh?
I'm only 32 years old, but I look at the new music. It's fucking terrible. I can't even listen to it.
It sucks.
I had to start listening to 80s rock just to have something to listen to.
There you go. That's the best generation for music. I also came up in the 80s, so everybody loves the 80s. They really do. Everybody loves the 80s. Even if it's not their favorite generation, everybody can get down with some Journey or Cyndi Lauper. Every single person sings Time After Time if it comes on when they're driving down the road, man or woman.
I have it on my playlist.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those things you just fucking roll the windows up and get it on.
I think Stranger Things helped the 80s reputation too.
Yeah, I forget how many millions of like downloads that song fucking had after that those episodes came out. That shit's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how we got off on this fucking tangent, but we're talking about traditions.
Well, if you want to get back to college football traditions, a dumb one that I think is pretty recent also is fucking South Carolina with Sandstorm.
So stupid.
That techno music.
Yeah, the techno and then the bird coming out of the egg or whatever it is, or the cage.
What about when Tennessee was dunking footballs in trash cans?
That was the fucking worst. They should have fired that motherfucker that day.
You guys should have dunked your whole fucking football team in that trash can and just started.
He did. Hey, listen, Butch Jones was a fucking terrible fucking coach. Terrible.
Yeah, so he had the trash cans, and then what was the last guy?
Jeremy Pruitt had the McDonald's bags.
What did Dewey?
He had the orange pants.
Orange pants, and then Lane Kiffin just fucking dipped. He just rolled out, right?
Right. Yeah. Like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and then also another tradition, the turnover chain, which Miami they retired that, but that was one of the. I feel like that was one of the things that kind of jump started everyone doing these different like gimmicks. Yeah,
I don't like it.
I don't get it at all.
I don't like it. I don't like the turnover stuff. I don't like the home run stuff either. Like in baseball, how they do this stupid shit when they hit a home run. I mean, just celebrate with you. You know what my favorite thing that the home run the baseball players do is when the guys in the dugout don't respond at all and they just ignore the guy that hit the home run. So he comes back to the dugout and they're all just sitting there watching the game like nothing happened. I fucking love it. That shit is hilarious. And they do it for.
Eventually they get them and they celebrate, right?
Yeah. But it's pretty cool watching them just sit there like with their arms crossed and shit when he comes back into the dugout. It's pretty cold-blooded. I like that tradition, but I like baseball. Baseball's got some like odd things that go with it, like traditions and the guys. I think baseball players are a little bit different breed, and I think the shit they do is pretty funny. But I don't like all that crap. You hit a home run and like even Tennessee. I loved our baseball team, but that stupid fur coat and all. I don't like all that shit. Just fucking play the game, man.
I actually really liked the Tennessee, how cocky they were with their fur coat and their hat that said "Daddy." And then when Notre Dame went to Knoxville and beat them and eliminated them, our players had daddy hats on the way home. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. And then you guys did the Tennessee thing and you threw trash on the field. So
yeah. Well, I think one piece of trash. Yeah, I think one bottle came out of the stands.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'll take the over on one.
Hey, look, I don't give a fuck. You know, so if everybody wants to judge our entire fan base off a couple of fucking losers, fuck them. Who cares?
Well, I'm just saying, if you guys these habits are becoming tradition, like your guys' new tradition is to throw trash on the field.
Listen, we've had decades getting fucked over by referees and shit on by the media. So we are losing our patience with it.
Playing the victim.
Yeah. Also, it was one special circumstance that happened, bitch. The fucking guy who was the first coach to fuck us over came back, acted like an asshole. Our fans were drunk as shit. We got fucked on like 3 calls.
3 calls.
Yeah, that game was crazy. I mean, I'm just calling it how I see it. You guys, your fans throw trash on the field. I wasn't even bad enough when they were doing it. I was like, fucking right. Because that game was crazy. But you guys continued that into the baseball. The baseball fans were doing it. And it's just like, come on. That was bad.
I bet you it was the same motherfuckers, man. Come on. There's fucking loser fans at every stadium. I don't want to hear that shit. It happens at Tennessee and everybody's like, oh my God, the fan base is fucking trash and this and that. But if it happened at USC or Notre Dame, they'd be like, couple bad fans got to ruin it for everybody.
Well, your guys' fan base also made T-shirts for the Notre Dame Tennessee baseball game that said Catholics versus classless, or classless versus Catholics. So, I mean, you guys definitely are proud of it. So it's not like, I don't think the Tennessee fan base is looking at those people saying, "Oh, a few bad eggs." Like they're promoting it and marketing it. So that's
we know how the media feels about us, man. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck.
clearly, I know.
It's us against the world.
Yeah, so don't act like oh, that's not how we are, or da 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 da.
That ain't how we are. That ain't how we are. That's how some dudes are. Hey, listen, not giving a fuck with what people think and throwing trash on the field, two different things. How many people were throwing trash? A couple? I mean, come on, man. The golf ball didn't even hit Lane Kiffin.
Which game are we talking about?
I don't know where the fucking mustard bottle came from. They're like, who takes a mustard bottle to a game? Was somebody eating their hot dog, making a hot dog up at the concession stand?
Yeah.
Like just brought it with them.
It's definitely from the concession stand.
I know, but see, so they brought it all the way down
Probably stole it.
just to throw it.
I mean, I know people that steal hot sauce from Chipotle. So I mean,
That's just ridiculous too.
so I mean, if I need mustard at home and Tennessee's got free mustard bottles out, I mean, come on, save a trip.
We got fucked in that game. Doesn't matter. But I'm not about all that throwing shit on. I don't think the fans should ever interact with the people on the field. And I don't think the people on the field should interact with the people in the stands. Let them cheer, you play, and that line needs to be respected. I am a firm believer in that. You got to respect the line. But you got some assholes that don't. Few bad apples.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're close to wrapping up. And so it should be good going forward. I mean, I think it's been pretty good so far. We're only 4 episodes in, I think, but we'll have some real games to talk about coming out of it next week. So anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap up?
I guess if we want to end on a high note with the traditions, I like the Iowa waving to the kids hospital after the first quarter because both teams do it.
That's
Yeah, I like the Sweet Caroline too that Boston College does. There's actually a lot of good traditions out there. It's hard to think of them when you're in the off season because you haven't seen football in so long, but there's a lot of pretty cool traditions. And then there's some stupid shit like the Gator Channel.
I was gonna say even fucking Maryland touches Testudo.
Is that his name, Testudo?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I went to see the Maryland Ohio State game a couple of years ago, which was really pathetic, by the way. Ohio State beat the living shit out of them, and the entire student section was empty. I think after the first quarter, it was pretty pathetic. But I do like how they touched the turtle coming in. I think that's pretty cool because I think it's in front of all the football stadium, all the different stadiums, the basketball arena, and they had a really nice Maryland's got a really nice basketball arena too.
what do you guys touch on your way out of the locker room or into the stadium? Do you have something?
Yeah, that sign that says I will give my all for Tennessee today.
That's pretty cool. We obviously have to play like a champion when we come out of the locker room.
Yeah,
It's pretty iconic.
yeah, it is. I like those are the traditions that I like. The traditions, the old school tradition, that turnover chain and all that stupid shit. Those aren't traditions. Those are just gimmicky things that are trendy. You know, they'll be going a year or two.
Just like fucking Chad Johnson and all those douchebags.
And I will say the last thing I will say about the traditions, I like us to stick with our traditional uniforms. I like the orange and white, but I do like watching Oregon and all their varieties of uniforms come out there. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool that they do it. I wouldn't want to do it.
I remember I can't remember which game it was. It might have been the Georgia game. You guys wore the gray uniforms.
Yeah.
You were pretty excited for that.
Well, you get behind your team if they're going to do it. You're going to do it. And then the gray is actually traditional. They wore them way back in the day. So it is part of the history of Tennessee football. I don't necessarily care for it. I'd rather wear the orange and white.
Yeah, I think it's fine to do it like for one game or maybe for like a special game. Because Notre Dame, we have our Shamrock series where we get special uniforms, and then we also have every once in a while they'll bring out the green jerseys. So I think it's pretty cool. But I mean, I do like the traditional jerseys. I think are obviously my favorites, but I don't mind the one-offs. I just wouldn't want to be like Maryland or Oregon where they have different uniforms and combinations every week. When I was younger, I liked it. Like I thought Oregon was really cool because they had all the different combos and Nike was like the big thing. and they were like one of the first teams to get sponsored by Nike. But just being older and kind of caring about tradition a little bit more, I don't like to see all that.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
when we do the blackouts because all of our shit's always orange and white. So when we do the one-off blackout game for Halloween or whatever, I always enjoy that.
Yeah, stuff like that's cool. And
I don't like.
you guys are orange anyway, so like to do black and orange on Halloween, like that's
Yeah.
I don't like it. I like the orange and white. Lou Holtz, when we first did a blackout game when Lane Kiffin was there against South Carolina, they were talking to Lou Holtz and they said, "What do you think of the black jerseys that Tennessee wore?" And he said, "I don't like it." He said, when I see the orange and white, I know it's Tennessee." He said, and that's a uniform you shouldn't mess with. And I agree. I'm like, that's exactly right. You don't mess with the traditional uniforms.
yeah.
But-
Lou Holtz is a great man.
I guess. I don't care. I know he was the coach of South Bend when we came back I think we were down 28-0 against you guys. And ended up winning by a point. Remember that game? I got it on DVD. You want to come over and watch it?
You have a DVD?
I do. And I have a DVD player just to watch that motherfucking DVD.
Like a collection of DVDs that you have on a bookshelf?
On a bookshelf.
Yeah. Where do you keep all your DVDs?
I keep them in a fucking plastic bin with a lid on it.
Is it in your garage or in your attic?
It's in a storage room.
Yeah. I didn't know
Yeah.
people who had DVDs.
I know the joke you're trying to make, but I don't watch DVDs. But I do have a DVD player.
Yeah, joke's on you. He has it on VHS.
Right.
Right.
Old bitch.
Got the motherfucker taped. It ain't skipping.
I could just go to YouTube and watch it. I just wouldn't do that.
Why don't you watch the game? That was a great game.
I'm sure I've seen it.
You refused to watch it when you were over here.
Early 90s?
It was in the early, like 91, I think.
The bus was there.
Yeah, Jerome Bettis and Rick Meyer, I think, was the quarterback.
Yep.
You guys were a fucking good team, but we fucking spanked that ass. I think the final was 35-34.
Well, you guys were good in the 90s too. So
Well, we were trying to get established. That's when Johnny Majors was putting some talent together, and we were getting much better. But he couldn't win the big games. Although that Notre Dame game he won. But the final straw was when he had heart surgery. Philip Fulmer had us 3-0 as the interim coach, and we were number 3 in the country. Johnny Majors comes back from surgery. We lose the next 3 games, all in games that we're favored by, and that was the end of the road for him.
yeah, it's kind of similar to because Fulmer ended up winning a championship for you guys.
Yeah, he should have won several, but yeah.
Very similar to what Notre Dame's doing. We had Brian Kelly who couldn't win a big game. Now we have big game Marcus Freeman. Championships are coming, boys.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Tennessee did it. You're hoping Notre Dame does it.
Just get ready.
I already got Tennessee going 12-0. So if you guys go to the national title game, we'll see you there.
If you guys are in the playoffs, we'll definitely be competitive in the playoffs. Just know
If
that.
what?
If your sorry asses are in the playoff this year, this will be the year we're competitive in the playoffs.
You guys can't score enough points to fuck with us. I'll tell you that. We'll outscore you in the first quarter.
No, you don't even know what your team's gonna do. You're just hopeful.
Score.
I know what my team's gonna do.
We're going to score a shit ton of points.
Not on our defense.
Score a shit ton of points. That's what we're going to do.
I hope you guys make it to the playoffs because we'll be there.
Put it on the bet sheet.
Put it.
Put it on the bet sheet.
It's on there.
Ain't no fucking way. All right, what do you guys want to wrap up with? I've got no more Deshaun Watson jokes. I mean, we're done with that.
Yeah, just wrap it up.
Yeah. That was the probably the best way we could. That was a good finish. All right. So we will do it again in a couple of days. Enjoy the first weekend of college football, and we'll get back to it. See you.